What is up? I'm Sergeant Ballistic, but you guys can call me Brian. Thank you for checking out this video. Today we're going to talk about the Rainbow Six Siege Black Ice update or DLC, whatever you want to call it. I went ahead and picked up a season pass so that I could get access to the 2 new operators and new map to hopefully give you guys my impressions and help you figure out if it's something you want to pick up. This DLC came with 1 new map, 2 new operators, and some new weapon skins. This is available now for season pass holders. The way season passes work for this game is kind of interesting. All the DLC is free for everyone, but season pass holders get access to everything 1 week ahead of everyone else. They have instant access to both the new operators. Non-season pass holders will have to pay 25k in RP, which is the free in-game currency earned by playing, in order to access them. It's kind of steep if you don't play a lot, so if you want access to those guys, you kind of have to make a decision as to whether or not you want to buy the season pass. But if you don't have a season pass and you won't have 50k RP to unlock both operators, you'll have a week to look at footage and reviews of operators and see who you might want to use your hard-earned RP points on first. So for the 2 new operators, these are Canadian JTF2 operators. It ties in with the whole theme of the DLC. Both these characters have medium armor and medium mobility. First one is Fuck, who is the male attacker, and he is not voiced by Nathan Fillion. I'd say he's the less popular operator at this time. I was able to choose him a lot more than Frost, which kind of told me that people didn't really see him as a stronger or even equal operator. For weapons, Buck actually has 2 different rifles. One is the CAMRS, which stands for Canuck Army Mounties Ride Sideways, or Canadian Army Marksman Rifle System. It's a semi-auto DMR, good for long range, very high damage per shot. Can be handy when sticking to the longer sight line, but overall, besides glass, I don't really use semi-auto weapons very much. His other weapon is the C8 SFW, which is super freaking wicked, or if you're kind of tired of these jokes already, it's the Special Forces weapon. It's a 5.56 assault rifle, essentially the Canadian military version of the Colt M4A1, and that's what I tended to use with him. I did fairly well with it, but found the foresight sticking up into the sight picture a little bit annoying. His available gadgets are either stun grenades or breaching charges. I tend to go with the breaching charges. The other character is Frost. She's a female character. She's the defensive character of the 2, arguably the stronger of the 2 based on weapons and her speciality. For weapons, she has the Super 90 shotgun, which is very strong. Some say it's kind of OP. I think I'm gonna have to agree with that. I'm not a shotgun user because of their kind of limited range. I really like longer range encounters. But the range on this is seemingly pretty awesome compared to other shotguns, and definitely the go-to if you're using this operator. Her other weapon is the 9mm C1, which is kind of a Canadian variant of this old World War II SMG. It's pretty meh, and using it I wasn't all that impressed. Very unique looking, has this cool interesting handle grip, but I think the shotgun is what you're going to want to use with her. For a non-special gadget slot, she either gets a choice of a deployable shield or a nitro cell. I typically go with the nitro cell. The special operator gadgets are what really set these guys apart. For Frost, she has what is called the Welcome Mat. It's essentially a modified bear trap which snares an enemy's leg and downs or kills them depending on how much health they have. It's actually pretty funny because it stays hooked to the enemy's leg even if one of their teammates is able to revive them, which I thought was just absolutely hilarious. I could go about that for about 10 minutes. Strangely, I had a couple weird situations where it did 120 damage and killed me outright instead of downing me when I'd taken no previous damage. Not sure what that was about. I was playing at Ash at the time, who's a lighter armored character. Not sure if it was that or if it somehow registered as a headshot. These are pretty easy to see because there's not a lot of super dark ground areas for them to go on. Just make sure that you're starting to look for them. They're also pretty easy to destroy with just a few shots from most guns. They cannot be destroyed by a Twitch drone or a Thatcher EMP grenade. The general strategy to use them seems to be to hide them in places people will try to make a hasty entrance into without checking around corners, and they can be really effectively stacked with a shield, razor wire, and blitz shock trap for a pretty nasty double, triple, or quad wombo combo, which can take an enemy down super fast. The razor wire and shield are actually pretty good to help obscure the mat, maybe coming through a doorway. And overall, I gotta say this does change the way you play the game a little bit. Attackers will have to be a lot more careful when rushing to try to get a flank off on the defenders. And you're going to need to let your team know when and where you spot one of these and try to shoot them out, preferably from behind cover with a silenced weapon like your secondary. Overall, it's a bit of a trolly way to kill someone, kind of like the shock wire, but it has been more effective in the earliest stages of this DLC, so I'd say it's a pretty strong specialty. Buck, on the other hand, has the skeleton key. It's an underbarrel shotgun attachment, which gets underslung beneath his main weapon, whichever one you choose. It's okay if you like shotguns. Having it on either his DMR or assault rifle can give you the best of both the long and short range world, but again, I don't find myself using shotguns too often, so it's kind of a wasted specialty for me. So the new map is called Yacht. It's set in the Baie de Baffin, or Baffin Bay, which is north of the Hudson Bay between Baffin Island and Greenland, way up at the top of the world. An extra little bit of trivia, the yacht's name is Boreal, which as far as I can tell means super far north and cold as shit. We'll see if subsequent DLCs have this same type of map / operator theme. It's essentially a giant luxury yacht which has careened into an iceberg, Titanic style. No signs of Leonardo DiCaprio or that diamond necklace, but it's essentially been beached and has some huge hull breaches which can actually serve as entry points for attackers. For some reason, the Rainbow Six team has been sent in to secure the vessel because an unidentified submarine has surfaced nearby. Assuredly, it's something of major international security interest to warrant the Rainbow Six team being called up. Maybe the Beebs' little black book or a super secret maple syrup recipe. Let me know if you find out. But anyways, it's a pretty cool setting for a tactical shooter and actually plays a role on the gameplay in kind of a weird way. And that's kind of by snow blinding you. The whole map has kind of an icy, washed out look, which makes even some of the cooler looking items and areas of the map a little visually boring in my opinion. There are some areas that aren't completely covered in ice. A cool little addition to the map is that when you place up items like reinforcements in the really cold areas, they actually freeze over super quickly, which is kind of a cool touch. Overall, I do like how the map plays. I still don't know it nearly as well as the vanilla maps, but that kind of adds to the rush and entertainment of playing it. It's got that new map smell. My biggest complaint is that even though I set it as a high priority, it only showed up in the rotation twice in about 3 to 5 hours of playing casual, which is just not nearly enough in my opinion. So the final main part of the DLC is the 3 new skins. We've got the JTF2 skin, which is this cool icy blue fractal design. It makes it look like your gun is kind of covered in ice. Then we've got the Dwyer Hill. This one can only be bought with 720 Rainbow Six points as opposed to RP points. And it's available to the JTF2 operators. It's got a really interesting wood panel look with the Canadian flag imprinted on it. And lastly, there is the USA Winter Camo, which is kind of just a winter camo pattern. It costs 2,000 RP and it's available for everything, I believe, because it's just a tier 1. So overall, my impressions, I have to say that I like the DLC for the most part. It's not as big or as impactful as some people thought it would be. As for the operators, I think Frost is definitely the stronger addition to the game and actually changes the way people played. Buck is more kind of a meh addition for me. I don't think either of them will really replace my go-to operators. As for the map, I think it's good, although I haven't had nearly as many chances to play it as I'd like. So Ubisoft, please change that. The skins are pretty cool if you're into skins. I really like the skins I've gotten for free and the ones that I got with the season pass, so I don't really feel the need to buy anymore. For me, so far the season pass is looking like an okay purchase. I hope the next DLC update has a bit more of a wow factor, but I'm happy and will continue playing the game quite a bit. I think my biggest kudos for this update have to go out to the dev team that's fixing bugs and improving general gameplay. If you've ever done any kind of software development, having your errors pointed out by someone else and having to go in and fix them, and sometimes even fixing someone else's errors, it can just be really frustrating. So I appreciate the time and effort the devs are putting in, and also them putting aside their egos in order to help make this game better. In terms of the patch / update notes, quite a few changes were made, still a lot of bugs to be fixed, but it looks like they're really trying to get the game as bug free as possible, especially leading into the start of Siege's premier esports season with ESL. The only major new feature mode was the addition of the spectator mode. It's been shown off in the videos and I think some of the alphas or betas before, but it's available for all platforms now. And for PC, it's added the addition of mouse and keyboard controls. But basically in 5v5 custom multiplayer matches, an 11th person can join in as a spectator, and this is really a crucial necessity for esports and casting competitive gaming. There were also a lot of tweaks and improvements and bug fixes. A couple of the noteworthy ones are that they muted operator shouts, so it's not as easy to get audio cues from what someone is doing. Not sure how much I like this. I was able to use it to my benefit quite a bit, and I can't think of very many situations it worked to my detriment, but it is the way it is. There's now ranked and custom objective rotations, so you can't cheese a location that you know you can defend really well. They went in and reduced the bullet trail intensity, especially for suppressed weapons, so that's a little bit of a buff. That kind of helps out with the lower damage you get from suppressed weapons. They also did a pretty substantial buff to the flashbangs, which doubled the effective range of them. They reduced the noise of defensive gadgets like Meech Jammer. They made it so deployables like reinforcements block bullets during deployment. Thatcher now has a shoddy, which has always been kind of a funny point because he has one in his picture but didn't have one available in his loadouts. They removed Bandit's shock damage to the hostage, which had been causing some weird issues with the game not being able to determine who won a round. They finally added the map name and game mode to the loading planning screens, so hopefully people will stop blowing up the hostage with fuse, but probably not. They fixed the weapon damage numbers in the menu, so they should be indicative of what is actually in the game files. They added individual spawn locations for ranked and custom matches so that it isn't as easy for the defending team to wipe them out upon spawn. They also redistributed the ranks, and they listed a whole bunch of major bug fixes that I'll let you go check out. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it gave you a good impression of what you can expect from the Black Ice DLC for Rainbow Six Siege, and also give you an idea of whether or not the season pass is worth it for you. I'm probably going to wait until the next DLC comes out to give you guys kind of a full review of the season pass and whether or not I think anyone should look to pick it up for the rest of the 2 DLCs. But let me know what you think of the DLC in the video in the comments below. Will you be picking up a season pass, or do you already have one? Like the video if you haven't, subscribe for more videos like this and also all these sexy tech videos you guys are used to. Follow me on your favorite social media site. That is it for this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.